My beloved child, today is not an ordinary day. Today carries a divine timestamp. February 11th is marked in the heavens, and Archangel Michael steps forward now with a message that was hidden until this exact moment. What you are about to hear was never meant for everyone. It was meant for you. There are conversations happening in secret rooms, whispers exchanged behind closed doors, admissions spoken when they believe you are no longer relevant. But heaven says otherwise. And today, those hidden words are being revealed. Listen closely. Because the people who once doubted you, dismissed you, underestimated you, your enemies, are admitting something they never wanted to say out loud. They are confessing how much you have changed, not just on the outside, but at the core of who you are. And what shocks the most is that your transformation did not break you. It refined you. Archangel Michael says this clearly. They are confused by your strength. They remember the old version of you, the one who reacted emotionally, who questioned their own worth, who carried wounds openly. What now? They don't recognize you. You move differently. You speak differently. You no longer chase validation or explain yourself. And this silence, this maturity, this authority, it unsettles though. Here is what they are admitting in secret. They say, "We tried everything but it didn't work." They thought pressure would crush you. They believed a delay would discourage you. They assumed betrayal would harden your heart or turn you bitter. But instead, you became wiser, calmer, abou. And this change has left them exposed. Archangel Michael reveals that some of them are replaying old moments, asking themselves where they lost control over you. They notice that you no longer respond to provocation. You don't argue. You don't defend. You don't seek revenge. And this silence speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. It tells them you are no longer operating on their level. This is important. They are admitting that you are no longer predictable. Once, they could press certain buttons and get a reaction. Once, they could manipulate your emotions. Once, they could pull you into confusion. But now you choose peace. And that choice terrifies them. Because peace is power they cannot touch. Archangel Michael says your enemies are saying this among themselves. They've grown. They see things differently now. They recognize that you are no longer driven by fear. You are no longer motivated by proving anything. You are led by clarity. And clarity cannot be controlled. Today, February 11th, marks the moment heaven exposes this truth. Your growth has become undeniable. Some of them are even saying, "We did expect them to survive that." They thought the weight you carrying would end you. They assumed the isolation would weaken you. They believed the losses would define you. But instead, every trial became a teacher. Every setback sharpened your discernment. Every delay built your endurance. Archangel Michael stands as your defender and says, "They see your light now, and it reminds them of their own darkness." This is why their tone has changed. This is why their words are different. This is why the same people who once mocked you now watch you quietly. They are measuring you, studying you, trying to understand how you rose without becoming bitter. And here is the part they truly cannot deny anymore. You outgrew them. Not with arrogance, not with pride, but with grace. You no longer need to announce your progress. Your presence speaks for itself. Your boundaries speak. Your calm speaks. Your confidence speaks. And the silent authority has become your shield. Archangel Michael reveals that some of your enemies are feeling exposed because your transformation highlights their stagnation. They stayed the same while you evolved. They repeated patterns while you broke cycles. And now, your life is evidence that change is possible, and that truth convicts them. Hear this carefully. They are not just talking about how you've changed. They are questioning themselves because of you. Your discipline makes them uncomfortable. Your self-respect challenges their control. Your healing confronts their unresolved wounds. And today, heaven allows you to hear what they cannot deny anymore, not so you can feel superior, but so you can be assured. Assured that your growth was real. Assured that your patience was not wasted. Assured that God saw every silent battle you fought. Archangel Michael says this message is coming now because you are stepping into a new phase. A phase where your past no longer has authority over your future. A phase where you no longer need to look back to validate how far you've come. But there is more being revealed. There is a deeper confession your enemies are making, one they are afraid to speak fully, and it connects directly to where you are going next. The next revelation will shift how you see yourself forever. My chosen one, listen with discernment now, because what Archangel Michael reveals next goes even deeper than what you first heard. The admissions your enemies are making are no longer just about your change. They are about their loss of control over you. They are realizing something that unsettles them at a soul level. You no longer need their approval, their validation, or their permission to move forward. And that realization is shaking the ground beneath them. They are saying this quietly, often late at night, often when they are alone with their thoughts. We can't reach them anymore. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. Archangel Michael says they are disturbed because you stopped explaining yourself. You stopped over-justifying your decisions. You stopped shrinking to keep others comfortable. This shift did not happen overnight, and they know it. They watch you struggle. They saw the moments when you almost gave up. And that is why your current strength feels threatening to them, because they know it was earned. Here is what they are admitting now. You learned from everything they meant to use against you. The criticism taught you discernment. The rejection taught you self-worth. The isolation taught you how to hear God's voice clearly. And now, when they try to figure out how you became so steady, they can't find a single weakness they once relied on. Archangel Michael reveals that this is why their conversations about you are filled with confusion. They ask each other, why doesn't it affect them anymore? They notice that the same tactics no longer work, the same words no longer sting, the same pressure no longer bends you. This is not because you became cold. It is because you became grounded. They are admitting that you see through things now. You read energy before words. You understand intentions without explanations. And that awareness makes manipulation impossible. Archangel Michael says some of them feel exposed around you because your clarity shines a light on their hidden motives. Another confession they are making is this: they are not desperate anymore. Desperation once made you easy to influence. But now, you are content with walking away. You are comfortable with silence. You are not afraid of starting over. And this independence has shifted the power dynamic completely. Today, February 11th, heaven wants you to understand this clearly. Your growth has made certain people irrelevant to your journey, and they know it. Some of them are even admitting that they underestimated your connection with God. They thought your faith was fragile. They assumed you would break under pressure. But instead, your faith deepened quietly. You didn't announce it. You lived it. And now, when they look at you, they see someone who moves with divine confidence, not human approval. Archangel Michael reveals something crucial here. Your enemies are not just reacting to your present. They are afraid of your future. They sense that you are aligned with something greater. They feel that doors are opening for you that they cannot access. And this awareness has shifted their tone from mockery to caution. They are being careful with their words now. They are watching what they say around you. They are measuring their actions, because they know you are no longer naive. And here is a powerful truth you must hear. Their secret admissions are proof that your transformation was successful. If you had not changed, they would not be talking. If you had not grown, they would not feel threatened. If you were still the same, they would not feel the need to reassess you. Archangel Michael says this is a confirmation season for you. A season where God allows you to see, even indirectly, that your inner work mattered. Every moment you chose restraint over reaction. Every time you chose healing over bitterness. Every step you took away from chaos. It all built the version of you they now cannot ignore. Now, as this message resonates, let me speak to you directly for a moment. If this revelation is aligning with your spirit, take a second to engage with this message. Like this video so it reaches others who need this confirmation. Share it with someone who is also walking through a season of deep transformation. Leave a comment declaring that you are no longer who you used to be. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel and join this growing community where divine messages are released regularly for those who are ready to receive them. This is not just content, it is confirmation. And your engagement helps this message travel where it is needed most. Archangel Michael says something important as this section closes. Do not feel the need to confront anyone about what you now know. You do not need to expose their admissions. Heaven has already seen them. Your assignment is not to look back. It is to stay aligned. Because there is another layer to this revelation. There is something your enemies are realizing about your destiny itself, not just your character. And when that truth surfaces, it will change how you see the delays, the detours, and the silence you endured. Stay connected. What is coming next will bring everything into focus, and you will be grateful you stayed present for it. Beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks again, and his voice carries a sharper clarity now. What your enemies are admitting has moved beyond observation and into fear. They are realizing that your change was not temporary, not emotional, not situational. It was permanent. And permanence is what they cannot undo. They hoped you would return to the old version of yourself once the pressure eased, once the storm passed, once time softened the lessons. But time did the opposite. Time solidified you. They are saying this among themselves. They don't need us anymore. This confession carries more weight than you realize. It means your independence is complete. You no longer orbit around their opinions. You no longer need their inclusion to feel whole. You no longer look outside yourself for permission to move forward. Archangel Michael says this is the moment they understood they lost influence over your life. Some of them are replaying past scenarios, trying to understand where the shift happened. They remember moments when you could have collapsed but didn't. They recall times when you chose silence instead of reaction. They watched you walk away without drama, without explanation, without trying to win anyone over. And that quiet exit wrote everything. Here is the deeper admission they are making now. They see us clearly. This is what unsettles them most. You are no longer blinded by loyalty to the wrong people. You no longer confuse familiarity with alignment. You no longer call disrespect love or chaos passion. Archangel Michael says your discernment has sharpened to the point where false intentions cannot hide around you anymore. They notice you ask fewer questions but make better decisions. They notice you listen more but speak less. They notice your confidence no longer needs an audience. And because of this, some of them feel naked around you. Not because you accuse, but because you observe. Not because you confront, but because you understand. Your awareness has become a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see reflected back. Archangel Michael reveals something very important to hear. Your enemies are admitting that your strength did not come from becoming harder. It came from becoming truer. You didn't build walls out of bitterness. You built boundaries out of wisdom. You didn't shut your heart. You guarded it. And that balance is rare. They also admit this quietly. They don't chase anymore. This is where the power fully shifted. You stopped chasing closure. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped chasing people who were comfortable misunderstanding you. And when you stopped chasing, things reversed. Now they watch. Now they wonder. Now they try to figure out what you know. Archangel Michael says your stillness speaks volumes. Your peace communicates authority. Your patience communicates confidence. And this kind of presence cannot be faked or forced. It only comes from deep inner alignment. Today, February 11th, is not just about what they are admitting. It is about what heaven is confirming to you. You were never losing your way. You were shedding layers. You were being prepared for a level of clarity that would require emotional maturity, spiritual discernment, and unwavering self-respect. Some of your enemies are even admitting that they misjudged your endurance. They thought you were sensitive because you were kind. They thought you were weak because you were gentle. But now they understand that gentleness carried strength they could not comprehend. And by the time they recognized it, you were already beyond their reach. Archangel Michael stands firm in this message. You are no longer accessible to the version of people who benefited from your confusion. This is why they feel a distance they cannot close. Not because you built it intentionally, but because growth naturally creates separation. You are not meant to drag everyone into your next season. Some people are meant to witness your change from afar. And here is the final confession they are making in secret, one they are most uncomfortable with. They are protected. They sense that something surrounds you. They feel that interference no longer works. They notice that what once delayed you now redirects in your favor. They may not call it divine protection, but they recognize its effect. This is your confirmation. You did not imagine your growth. You did not exaggerate your healing. You did not overestimate your transformation. Archangel Michael says receive this truth with humility, not pride. Let it anchor you, not inflate you. Because what comes next will require the same grounded spirit that carried you this far. Now receive this activation. Type I receive divine clarity in the comments if this message confirms your growth. Lesson code 444 has just been released. And now, hear this carefully as an extension of what was just spoken. This message did not arrive by accident, and neither did you. I hear the Lord saying, as you sow into this word, I will multiply light where darkness once ruled. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the link is waiting in the description. You are placing oil into a lamp that guides lost souls. This is not charity. This is obedience. I speak blessing over every seed planted here, that heaven would respond swiftly and abundantly. Do not delay what God is stirring in you now. Act and watch how the harvest follows. Chosen one, Archangel Michael draws your attention even closer now, because what unfolds next is not about your enemies anymore. It is about you fully recognizing who you have become. There is a shift happening inside you, subtle but irreversible. And heaven wants you to be aware of it so you do not shrink back into old patterns out of habit or nostalgia. Your enemies have sensed this shift before you consciously named it. That is often how it works. Those who watched you from a distance notice the change in your posture, in your tone, in your decisions. But now, Archangel Michael says it is time for you to see it clearly too. You are no longer becoming someone new. You already arrived. There is a calm authority on you now. Not loud, not forceful, but unmistakable. You no longer rush to be understood. You no longer panic when things are unclear. You have learned how to wait without anxiety, how to move without explaining, how to trust without needing constant reassurance. This inner stability is what sets you apart in this season. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven had been watching how you respond when no one is clapping, when progress is quiet, when validation is absent. And you passed those tests. You stayed consistent even when recognition was delayed. You stayed faithful even when the outcome was uncertain. That is why the ground beneath you is becoming firm now. Your enemies admitted your change, but what they do not fully understand is this. Your change came from alignment, not ambition. You were not trying to prove anything. You were trying to survive, heal, and obey. And in that process, you aligned yourself with truth. That alignment is what gives you peace that cannot be shaken. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a phase where your reactions will no longer be impulsive but intentional. You will notice this yourself. Situations that once triggered you now pass through you without attachment. Words that once wounded you now fall flat. Opinions that once held power over your mood now feel distant. This is not numbness. This is mastery. There is also something else happening. Your discernment is deepening. You can sense when something is off without needing proof. You can feel when an invitation is not meant for you, even if it looks attractive. You can tell when silence is wiser than speech. This inner knowing is sharpening because you have learned to listen inwardly instead of constantly seeking external confirmation. Archangel Michael cautions you here, gently but firmly. Do not doubt this new clarity just because it feels unfamiliar. Growth often feels strange at first because it requires you to let go of versions of yourself that felt safe but were limiting. You are not losing your softness. You are refining it. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming selective. There is a reason certain people feel farther away now. It is not punishment. It is positioning. Your life is being arranged in a way that protects your focus. Distractions are falling away. Noise is being reduced. Emotional drains are being exposed. This is not loneliness. This is preparation. Archangel Michael reveals that you are entering a season where your presence alone will speak louder than your explanations ever did. People will feel something when they are around you, even if they cannot articulate it. Some will be drawn. Others will feel uncomfortable. Both reactions are confirmations. You are no longer neutral ground. You may notice that you are less interested in arguing your point and more interested in preserving your peace. This is wisdom, not avoidance. You have learned that not every misunderstanding needs correction, and not every battle deserves your energy. This discernment will save you time, emotional strength, and spiritual clarity in the days ahead. Heaven also wants you to understand this. The delays you endured were not denials. They were filters. They filtered out impatience. They filtered out dependency. They filtered out the need for instant gratification. What remains now is endurance, patience, and trust. These qualities are not flashy, but they are powerful. Archangel Michael says you are now being trusted with more responsibility. Not necessarily more visibility, but more influence. Influence does not always look like attention. Sometimes it looks like being the calm voice in chaos. Sometimes it looks like being the steady presence others lean on. Sometimes it looks like walking away without burning bridges. There is a new level of self-respect anchoring you now. You can feel it in the way you set boundaries without guilt. You can hear it in the way you say no without over-explaining. You can see it in the way you choose rest over burnout. This self-respect is not selfish. It is stewardship. As this part of the message settles, Archangel Michael wants you to remember one thing. Do not rush what is unfolding. You do not need to announce your growth. You do not need to defend your changes. Those who are meant to walk with you will adjust. Those who are not will drift. Both outcomes are aligned. What comes next will require this grounded version of you. And because you are now rooted, you will not be easily shaken. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael continues, and the tone of this message now turns inward, because what is unfolding next is about your internal alignment catching up with your destiny. You have changed externally, yes, but now heaven is refining the internal posture from which you move. This is a quieter work, deeper, and far more significant than anything visible on the surface. There is a settling happening inside you. You may have felt it recently, a sense that you are no longer rushing toward answers, no longer anxious about outcomes, no longer desperate for certainty. Archangel Michael says this is not complacency. This is trust taking root. Trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. Trust that what is leaving is making room. Trust that you do not have to force doors that are already assigned to open. Your enemies noticed your change, but they could not see this part. They could not see the nights you wrestled with doubt and still chose faith. They could not see the moments you felt uncertain and still moved forward with integrity. They could not see how many times you wanted to revert to old habits and chose growth instead. This unseen discipline is what has anchored you now. Archangel Michael reveals that you are learning how to respond instead of react. This is a powerful shift. Reaction is emotional and immediate. Response is intentional and measured. You are pausing before speaking. You are thinking before committing. You are observing before engaging. And this pause has become holy ground where wisdom meets restraint. There is also a new relationship forming between you and time. You no longer feel chased by it. You are not trying to outrun seasons. You are no longer comparing your timeline to others. You understand now that timing is not about speed but about readiness. This understanding has removed a heavy weight from your spirit. Heaven wants you to notice how your desires are changing. Things that once felt urgent now feel optional. Things that once felt necessary now feel negotiable. And things you once overlooked now feel essential. This is alignment. Your values are recalibrating. Your priorities are rearranging. And this inner reordering is preparing you for a level of responsibility that requires discernment, not impulse. Archangel Michael says you are becoming someone who can be trusted with influence without being consumed by it. Trusted with opportunity without losing humility. Trusted with authority without forgetting compassion. These qualities are rare, and they are formed only through patience and self-awareness. There may be moments in this season when you feel strangely quiet inside. Not empty, but still. This stillness is not a lack of direction. It is clarity without noise. You are no longer cluttered with conflicting voices. You are no longer pulled in 10 directions at once. You are learning to move from a centered place. This is also why certain conversations feel exhausting now. Certain environments feel heavy. Certain dynamics feel unnecessary. Your spirit is rejecting what no longer aligns. This is not judgment. This is discernment. You are not obligated to stay connected to what drains you just because it is familiar. Archangel Michael wants to address something gently but directly. There may be moments when you question whether you are doing enough, whether you should be pushing harder, whether you are missing something. Release that pressure. Growth is not always loud. Progress is not always visible. Some of the most important work happens beneath the surface. You are learning how to hold tension without anxiety. You can sit with unanswered questions without losing peace. You can acknowledge uncertainty without spiraling into fear. This emotional regulation is not accidental. It is the fruit of everything you have endured and integrated. There is also a strengthening of your boundaries happening now. You are no longer explaining them. You are no longer negotiating them. You are simply living them. This quiet firmness communicates more clearly than words ever could. People are adjusting to the new you, even if they do not say it out loud. Archangel Michael says this is the season where you stop over-identifying with your past. You can remember it without reliving it. You can reference it without being defined by it. The lessons remain, but the weight is gone. You are carrying wisdom, not wounds. As you continue forward, you will notice that your intuition is becoming more reliable. You sense when to move and when to wait. You sense when to speak and when to remain silent. This inner guidance is sharpening because you have learned to trust it. And trust strengthens discernment. Do not rush to label what is happening. Do not force clarity before it arrives naturally. You are in a transitional space that requires patience, not pressure. What is forming now will support what is coming next. Archangel Michael closes this part of the message with reassurance. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing out. You are exactly where your growth has brought you. And because you are grounded, what comes next will not overwhelm you. It will meet you at the level you are now capable of sustaining. My beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks with steady authority now, because the season you are entering will require awareness, not urgency. What is unfolding is subtle, but powerful. You are learning how to carry peace without needing everything to make sense. This is not passive waiting. This is active trust. And trust, when matured, becomes strength. There is a noticeable shift in how you handle uncertainty. Before, unanswered questions would disturb your rest. And now, you can hold them without anxiety. You no longer demand instant clarity. You have learned that clarity often arrives after obedience, not before it. Archangel Michael says this patience is not weakness. It is proof of spiritual maturity. Your enemies once relied on your reactions. They counted on your emotional responses to gain leverage. But now, your stillness has removed their access. They no longer know how to provoke you. They no longer know how to distract you. And because of this, they are forced to face themselves. Your calm has become confrontational without you saying a word. There is also a shift in how you view success. You are no longer chasing outcomes just to feel accomplished. You are more interested in alignment than applause. You care less about how things look and more about how they feel internally. This recalibration has freed you from comparison. You are running your own race now, at your own pace. Archangel Michael reveals that your discernment is becoming more refined. You are sensing when something is almost right, but not fully aligned. You are learning to trust that discomfort is often guidance. Not every opportunity is meant to be accepted. Not every open door is assigned to you. This wisdom will protect you from unnecessary detours. You may notice that your circle continues to narrow. This is intentional. Depth is replacing quantity. Quality is replacing convenience. You are not meant to be accessible to everyone in this season. Your energy is being preserved for what truly matters. This is not isolation. It is focus. There is a new level of emotional responsibility developing within you. You are no longer outsourcing your peace to external circumstances. You are no longer blaming others for how you feel. You are taking ownership of your inner world. This self-leadership is preparing you for greater responsibility ahead. Archangel Michael says something important here. The reason things feel quieter is because you are no longer fighting yourself. Inner conflict has reduced. You are more honest with yourself about what you want, what you need, and what you will no longer tolerate. This honesty has simplified your life. You are also learning the power of restraint. Not every truth needs to be spoken immediately. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Not every battle needs to be engaged. You are choosing peace strategically, not fearfully. This restraint is not suppression. It is wisdom in motion. As this message resonates, let me pause and speak to you directly. If this word is aligning with where you are right now, take a moment to support its reach. Like this video so it can be shared with others who need confirmation. Share it with someone who is quietly growing and may not yet see how far they have come. Leave a comment declaring that you are stepping into alignment. And if you are not yet part of this community, subscribe and consider joining the membership so you can stay connected to messages released for those walking this path. Your engagement is not small. It helps this word travel. Archangel Michael continues. You are becoming more comfortable with saying no without guilt. You are choosing rest without needing to justify it. You are honoring your limits without feeling weak. This self-respect is reshaping how others treat you. People adjust when they realize you are serious about your boundaries. There is also a new relationship forming between you and silence. Silence no longer feels awkward. It feels safe. It gives you space to think, to feel, to hear God clearly. You are no longer filling every gap with noise or distraction. This stillness is strengthening your intuition. You may also notice that your reactions to praise and criticism are becoming more balanced. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not define you. You are anchored internally. The stability is rare, and it is the result of everything you have processed and healed. Archangel Michael wants you to know that this season is not about dramatic breakthroughs. It is about sustainable growth. It is about building a foundation that will support what is coming next without collapse. What is being formed now will last. Before you move on from this message, stay present for what unfolds next. There is a deeper revelation about your purpose and how this season connects to what you are being prepared for. You will want to hear this with clarity because it will reframe everything you have been questioning. Beloved child, Archangel Michael draws your focus to a deeper layer now, because what is unfolding is not just growth, it is assignment. Everything you have experienced, every delay, every separation, every moment of silence has been shaping how you will carry what comes next. This is the part many do not see, but heaven has been watching closely. You are no longer in a season of becoming aware, you are in a season of being entrusted. There is a difference. Awareness teaches you who you are. Entrustment tests whether you can steward that understanding with humility and consistency. Archangel Michael says this is why your life has slowed down in certain areas. Speed would have distracted you from the responsibility being placed in your hands. You may feel a stronger pull toward meaning rather than momentum. You are less impressed by quick wins and more drawn to things that last. Surface-level connections no longer satisfy you. Conversations without depth feel empty. Goals without purpose feel heavy. This is because your spirit is aligning with substance, not spectacle. There is also a refinement happening in how you define fulfillment. It is no longer tied to proving anything to anyone. You are not trying to rewrite your past or justify your choices. You are living forward with clarity. This forward focus has closed doors behind you without regret. You are not haunted by what was. You are anchored in what is. Archangel Michael reveals that your discernment is now protecting you from emotional exhaustion. You can sense when something will cost more than it gives. You can feel when a path requires you to abandon yourself to maintain it. And you are choosing yourself without apology. This self-honoring is not selfish. It is sacred. There is a quiet confidence emerging in you. Not the kind that seeks recognition, but the kind that does not need it. You trust your decisions. You trust your timing. You trust your ability to adapt if things change. This confidence is flexible, not rigid. It allows you to grow without fear of losing your identity. Heaven also wants you to understand that your enemy's admissions were not the destination. They were confirmation along the way. You were never meant to pause and look back at who noticed your change. You were meant to continue forward with awareness, not attachment. Validation is not your fuel. Alignment is. You may notice that you are less reactive to external chaos. News, opinions, and noise do not pull you in a way they once did. You are selective about what you consume and who you engage with. This selectivity is preserving your peace and sharpening your focus. You are no longer available for everything, and that is intentional. Archangel Michael says you are learning how to hold responsibility without pressure. You do not rush outcomes. You do not manipulate timelines. You do not force alignment. You show up consistently and let results unfold naturally. This posture will serve you well in what lies ahead. There is also a deepening of compassion happening within you. Not the kind that overextends itself, but the kind that understands human complexity. You no longer see people as simply right or wrong. You see patterns, wounds, and choices. This understanding does not excuse harmful behavior, but it frees you from carrying resentment. You are also becoming more comfortable with being misunderstood. This is a sign of maturity. You no longer need to correct every assumption or defend every decision. You trust that what is real will reveal itself over time. This trust removes the burden of constant explanation. Archangel Michael wants to prepare you for something important. As your inner world stabilizes, your outer world will begin to respond. Opportunities will come that test your discernment. Invitations will come that test your boundaries. Recognition may come that tests your humility. What you have learned in this quiet season will guide you. This is why you were not rushed. This is why things unfolded slowly. Speed would have amplified weaknesses that patience has now healed. You were being prepared to carry weight without breaking, influence without losing yourself, and clarity without becoming rigid. You may feel a sense of anticipation without anxiety, a readiness without urgency. This is alignment. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are simply available for what aligns. This availability is powerful because it is rooted in choice, not need. Archangel Michael closes this part with reassurance. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being positioned quietly, deliberately, and precisely. What comes next will not require you to scramble. It will meet you where you are because you have been prepared for it. Remain grounded. Remain discerning. Remain present. The next unfolding will connect everything you have been sensing, and it will make sense why this season required such depth. My beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks with solemn tenderness now, because you are standing at a threshold. Not a dramatic one that announces itself loudly, but a sacred crossing that only those who have been refined can recognize. You have reached a point where your inner world is finally strong enough to support what your outer world is about to receive. This is why the pace has been deliberate. This is why things unfolded layer by layer. Heaven was not withholding from you. It was preparing you. You are no longer asking for transformation. You are living from it. And now, what once felt distant is beginning to respond to who you have become. Archangel Michael reveals that you are entering a season where your presence will influence outcomes without force. You will notice this shift subtly. Conversations will change tone when you enter the room. Decisions will adjust around you. Resistance will soften without confrontation. This is not manipulation. This is authority rooted in alignment. Your enemies sensed this coming long before you did. That is why their admissions carried fear. They realized you were no longer operating from insecurity. You were no longer driven by the need to be seen or understood. You were grounded. And grounded people are difficult to shake. Heaven wants you to understand something important. The reason you were stripped of certain attachments was not to leave you empty, but to leave you clear. Clarity is what allows divine direction to flow without interference. You are not confused anymore about who deserves access to you. You are not torn between paths. You are not negotiating with your intuition. This clarity is rare, and it is valuable. Archangel Michael says you are now being trusted with timing. Timing requires maturity. It requires patience. It requires restraint. You have learned not to rush answers, not to force movement, not to panic in stillness. This composure will protect you as new opportunities emerge. You may notice that your prayers are changing. You are asking less for things and more for wisdom. Less for outcomes and more for alignment. Less for control and more for guidance. This shift signals spiritual growth. You are no longer trying to shape your life alone. You are cooperating with divine order. There is also a deep sense of closure settling over certain chapters. Not with bitterness, not with regret, but with acceptance. You are no longer replaying old conversations. You are no longer rehearsing what you wish you had said or done differently. You have made peace with what was, and that peace has freed energy for what will be. Archangel Michael reveals that this is the moment where self-trust becomes non-negotiable. You have gathered enough evidence of your discernment. You have navigated enough storms. You have survived enough misjudgments. You are allowed to trust yourself now. Doubting your growth would only slow what is ready to move. You are also becoming more selective with your emotional investments. You are not giving your energy away freely anymore. You are choosing where to pour, where to pause, and where to walk away. This selectivity is not selfish. It is stewardship of your spirit. Heaven is also reminding you that not everyone will understand this version of you. Some will miss the old accessibility. Some will feel the distance and misinterpret it. Let them. You are not responsible for how others process your growth. You are responsible for honoring it. Archangel Michael says you are now moving with a quiet certainty. You do not need signs at every step. You do not need constant reassurance. You recognize alignment when you feel it. And when something is not aligned, you have the courage to step back without guilt. This is a moment of internal sealing. What you have learned is not temporary. What you have integrated is not fragile. You are not easily swayed anymore. You are not easily discouraged. You are steady. And steadiness is what sustains long-term purpose. Receive this activation now. Type "I walk in divine authority" in the comments if you receive this confirmation. Blessing code 888 has now been activated. And now hear this as a natural extension of what has just been released. I sense the Lord saying, those who help carry this word will never walk without provision. When you support this message through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the donation links are in the description. You are not funding content, you are fueling light. This is sowing into a stream that reaches hearts across the world, often at the exact moment they are crying out. I declare that every seed sown here will return as clarity, protection, and open doors. Do not hesitate when heaven nudges you. Respond now and watch how obedience unlocks overflow in your life. Beloved one, Archangel Michael continues with a steady presence, because what unfolds now is about integration. You have received insight, clarity, and confirmation, but now heaven speaks about how this new version of you must be lived, not just understood. Awareness without integration creates imbalance, and you are being guided into wholeness, not fragments of growth. There is a settling happening at the core of your identity. You are no longer switching masks depending on who you are with. You are no longer adjusting your truth to fit environments. What you believe, how you move, and how you speak are beginning to align naturally. This congruence is freeing. It removes internal tension you once carried without realizing it. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a phase where consistency matters more than intensity. You no longer need emotional highs to feel close to purpose. You no longer rely on dramatic moments to feel alive. You are learning how to show up steadily, faithfully, and grounded. This consistency is what builds trust with yourself, with others, and with God. You may notice that your intuition now works in quieter ways. It is not always a strong feeling or a sudden knowing. Sometimes it is a gentle nudge. Sometimes it is a pause. Sometimes it is a lack of peace that guides you away. The subtle guidance requires attentiveness, and you are learning how to listen without overthinking. Archangel Michael reveals that you are also becoming more patient with others. Not because you excuse behavior, but because you understand process. You know how long it took you to grow. You know how many layers you had to shed. This understanding allows you to hold compassion without sacrificing boundaries. This balance is wisdom. There is also a shift in how you relate to your past. It no longer defines you, but it informs you. You can acknowledge it without emotional charge. You can speak about it without reopening wounds. This emotional neutrality is not denial. It is healing completed. You have integrated the lessons and released the pain. You may feel less urgency to prove your progress. You do not need to announce how much you have healed. You do not need to convince anyone that you are different. Your life reflects it naturally. The way you choose, the way you respond, the way you rest. All of it speaks quietly but clearly. Archangel Michael says this is also a season where humility will protect you. Growth can invite attention, and attention can invite temptation. You are being reminded to stay grounded, to remain teachable, to continue listening. Confidence and humility are not opposites. They are partners, and together, they keep you aligned. There may be moments when you feel a strange mix of readiness and restraint. You feel capable but not rushed, prepared but not impatient. This is a healthy tension. It means you are aware of your capacity without forcing its expression. You trust that what is meant to unfold will do so in its proper time. Your discernment is also guiding you toward simplicity. You are reducing unnecessary commitments. You are decluttering emotionally and mentally. You are choosing quality over quantity in how you spend your time and energy. This simplicity is creating space for what truly matters. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that your peace is now an indicator. When something disrupts it repeatedly, pay attention. When something aligns with it naturally, honor that. Peace does not mean the absence of challenge. It means the presence of alignment. You are learning to recognize the difference. You may also notice that your communication is changing. You speak more clearly. You listen more fully. You are less defensive and more direct. This clarity reduces misunderstandings and strengthens connections that are meant to last. You are no longer afraid of being honest, even when honesty is uncomfortable. Heaven is also highlighting the importance of rest in this season. Rest is no longer something you earn after exhaustion. It is something you honor as part of sustainability. You are learning that rest sharpens discernment, restores creativity, and protects your health. This wisdom will serve you long term. Archangel Michael says you are becoming someone who can hold complexity without being overwhelmed. Life no longer needs to be all good or all bad. You can hold mixed emotions without confusion. You can accept ambiguity without anxiety. This emotional capacity is a sign of maturity. As this part of the message settles, understand this clearly. You are not waiting to become someone else. You are learning how to fully inhabit who you already are. This embodiment is the bridge between insight and impact. Remain present. Remain grounded. What is coming next will bring direction to this integration and show you how your growth begins to extend beyond you, touching others in ways you did not anticipate. Beloved child, Archangel Michael speaks with firm compassion now, because this phase is about direction. You have been refined, grounded, and integrated, but now heaven turns your attention toward movement. Not rushed movement, not pressured action, but intentional steps guided by clarity. You are not drifting anymore. You are choosing. There is a subtle but powerful readiness within you. You may not feel dramatic excitement, but you feel capable. You feel steady. You feel prepared to respond when alignment calls. Archangel Michael says this is the difference between impulsive motion and purposeful advancement. You are no longer moving to escape discomfort. You are moving to express truth. Your enemies once admitted how much you changed. Now they are beginning to notice something else. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are not seeking approval before acting. You are not looking over your shoulder to see who is watching. This internal permission has freed you. And freedom changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak into situations, how you make decisions. There is a new authority in your yes and your no. When you commit, you are present. When you decline, you are clear. You no longer agree out of guilt or obligation. You choose based on alignment. This decisiveness is not harsh. It is respectful to yourself and to others. Archangel Michael reveals that this season will test your discernment more than your endurance. Opportunities will appear that look familiar but are rooted in old patterns. Invitations may arise that appeal to ego rather than purpose. This is where your growth matters. You are now able to recognize what aligns with who you are now, not who you used to be. You may feel moments of hesitation, not because you are afraid, but because you are thoughtful. You are weighing choices. You are considering long-term impact. This deliberation is wisdom. You no longer rush into things to feel alive. You trust that life unfolds meaningfully without force. There is also a strengthening of your voice. You are expressing yourself more honestly. You are less filtered by fear of misunderstanding. You are not over-explaining your intentions. This clarity is attracting the right conversations and filtering out the wrong ones. People who resonate with your truth will lean in. Others may step back. Both outcomes are appropriate. Archangel Michael wants you to notice how your confidence is no longer situational. It does not disappear when circumstances are uncertain. It does not inflate when things go well. It remains steady. This steadiness allows you to navigate change without losing your center. You are also learning how to receive without suspicion. Support no longer makes you uncomfortable. Recognition no longer feels threatening. You are able to accept good things without questioning whether you deserve them. This receptivity is part of healing. You no longer block blessings out of habit. As this message continues, let me speak to you directly for a moment. If this word is resonating with your journey, take action that helps it reach others who are quietly walking the same path. Like this video so it can move through the platform. Share it with someone who needs clarity right now. Leave a comment declaring that you are ready to move in alignment. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe and consider joining the membership so you stay connected to messages released for those who are prepared to grow intentionally. This is how this word travels. Archangel Michael continues. You are becoming more comfortable with responsibility. Not responsibility that burdens, but responsibility that empowers. You understand that your choices matter. Your presence matters. Your energy matters. This awareness is shaping how you show up consistently, not just when it is convenient. There is also a growing sense of purpose that does not need a label yet. You may not have all the details. You may not see the full picture. But you feel direction. You sense momentum building quietly. This is enough for now. Clarity often comes in motion, not before it. You may notice that you are less reactive to setbacks. Delays no longer derail you. Adjustments no longer discourage you. You adapt without spiraling. This resilience is not accidental. It is the result of everything you have processed and integrated. Archangel Michael says this is also a season where accountability matters. You are holding yourself to a higher standard, not out of pressure, but out of self-respect. You follow through. You show up when you say you will. You honor your word. This integrity strengthens your confidence and your credibility. Before this part closes, hold your attention here for a moment. What unfolds next will bring a deeper understanding of how your growth connects to others and why your journey was never meant to stay private. This next revelation will reframe how you see your influence. Stay with this message. What comes next carries clarity that ties everything together. Beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks with depth and precision now, because this stage of your journey is about understanding impact. Until now, much of your growth has felt personal, internal, and quiet. But heaven reveals that it was never meant to stop with you. What you have walked through has been shaping not only your character, but your capacity to influence others without striving to do so. You may not see it clearly yet, but people are already responding to your presence differently. Not because you are louder, but because you are steadier. Not because you are trying to lead, but because you are grounded. This kind of influence does not announce itself. It is felt, and it is trusted. Archangel Michael says this is why your life had to be refined privately before it could ever affect others meaningfully. Influence without integrity collapses. Visibility without depth confuses. You were protected from premature exposure so that when your presence began to matter, it would carry weight rather than noise. There is something important to understand here. Your journey was never about becoming perfect. It was about becoming consistent. People are not drawn to flawlessness. They are drawn to authenticity that is stable. You are becoming someone others feel safe around, not because you fix them, but because you do not project unresolved chaos onto them. You may notice that people open up to you more easily now. They share things without fully knowing why. They trust your perspective even when you do not force it. This is not accidental. Archangel Michael says you have become a calm space for others because you learned how to regulate your own inner world. This does not mean you are meant to carry everyone's burdens. Discernment still applies. Boundaries still matter. but it does mean that your presence now carries a kind of quiet authority that invites honesty. This is a responsibility, not a pedestal. You are also learning that leadership does not always look like direction. Sometimes it looks like example. You are modeling what emotional responsibility looks like. You are showing what it means to choose peace without avoidance. You are demonstrating that growth does not require superiority. It requires humility. Archangel Michael reveals that your past struggles are now becoming points of connection rather than pain. You no longer speak from raw wounds. You speak from healed perspective. This allows others to hear hope rather than heaviness when you share. Your story is no longer about survival alone. It is about integration. You may feel a growing desire to contribute rather than compete, to collaborate rather than compare, to build rather than prove. This shift is significant. It means your identity is no longer threatened by others' success. You are secure enough to support without losing yourself. There is also refinement happening in how you offer help. You no longer overextend. You no longer rescue. You offer support without control, guidance without pressure, presence without obligation. This maturity protects both you and those you care about. Archangel Michael says this is the season where you begin to recognize your influence, not by how many people follow you, but by how many feel strengthened after encountering you. This kind of impact is subtle, but it is lasting. It does not fade when circumstances change. You may also notice that your values are becoming more visible through your actions. Integrity is no longer something you think about. It is something you live. Its consistency is building trust quietly. People may not comment on it, but they notice. Heaven wants you to understand that you are not meant to rush into roles or titles. Your influence will expand naturally as alignment deepens. You do not need to position yourself strategically. Authenticity will place you where you belong. There may be moments when you question whether what you are doing matters. When progress feels slow. When impact feels invisible. Archangel Michael says do not measure this season by external feedback. Measure it by internal stability. That is where real growth is evident. You are also being invited to release any remaining need to be understood by everyone. Impact does not require universal approval. It requires clarity. Those who resonate will recognize you. Those who do not are not meant to be convinced. As this part of the message settles, receive this truth. Your journey has reached a point where it naturally extends outward. Not through effort, but through embodiment. You are not trying to inspire. You are becoming someone whose life speaks quietly but clearly. Remain grounded in this understanding. The final unfolding will bring closure and commissioning, tying together everything that has been revealed. What comes next will seal this season with purpose and direction. My beloved child, Archangel Michael speaks one final time in this cycle, and his voice carries both completion and commissioning. What you have walked through was not random. What you endured was not excessive. And what you became was not accidental. This is the moment where heaven closes one chapter and seals another, not with noise, but with authority. You are no longer standing in preparation. You are standing in readiness. Everything that once felt confusing now settles into understanding. The delays taught you patience. The silence taught you discernment. The separation taught you self-respect. The pressure taught you endurance. None of it was wasted. Each season refined a different part of you, and together they formed someone who can carry responsibility without losing humility. Archangel Michael reveals that you are now recognized in the spiritual realm as stable. This matters more than recognition in the natural. Stability means you are not easily swayed by emotion. You are not moved by comparison. You are not distracted by noise. You are anchored. And anchored people can be trusted with weight. Your enemies admitted your change, but what they never understood was why it happened. It was not because you tried harder. It was because you surrendered deeper. You stopped fighting for control and started walking in alignment. The alignment protected you, guided you, and reshaped you from the inside out. There is a quiet authority on you now. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to defend it. You do not need to prove it. It shows in your decisions. It shows in your restraint. It shows in your peace. This authority will open doors that effort never could. Archangel Michael says you are entering a phase where your life becomes instruction without explanation. People will learn by watching how you move, how you respond, how you choose. You will teach without trying to teach. You will lead without forcing direction. This is influence rooted in integrity. You are also released from the need to revisit old versions of yourself. There is no lesson left there. No closure missing. No unfinished business pulling you back. You are free to move forward without dragging memory, regret, or resentment behind you. This freedom is earned. Heaven wants you to hear this clearly. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not catching up. You arrived exactly when you were meant to. And because you arrived whole, what comes next will not overwhelm you. It will meet you at your level. There may still be unknowns ahead, but they no longer frighten you. You have learned how to navigate uncertainty with trust. You have learned how to wait without anxiety. You have learned how to move without rushing. These are not small skills. They are foundations. Archangel Michael declares that this is a season of stewardship. Stewardship of your peace. Stewardship of your energy. Stewardship of your influence. You will be given opportunities that require wisdom more than ambition. Choose what aligns, not what impresses. You are also reminded to remain teachable. Growth does not end here. It deepens. Stay humble. Stay listening. Stay grounded. The same posture that brought you here will sustain you ahead. Now receive this final activation. Type "I walk" sealed and send in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1212 has now been released over your life. And now hear this final word as a continuation, not a conclusion. I hear the Lord saying, those who stand with this assignment will never lack direction. If this message has strengthened you, stirred you, or confirmed you, this is your moment to respond. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the links are waiting in the description. You are not supporting a channel. You are advancing a calling. This is seed placed into fertile ground, and I speak harvest over every giver now. Let your support be an act of obedience, not hesitation. Act now, and watch how heaven responds with clarity, provision, and favor.